Stage. We're getting to the stage where we hardly ever go out together. I hear the word stage in daily conversations and news reports. I try to use stage when talking about everyday situations. Compare. The report compares the different types of home computer available. I hear the word compare in daily conversations and news reports. I try to use compare when talking about everyday situations. Authority. An agreement between the U.S. and Colombian authorities. I hear the word authority in daily conversations and news reports. I try to use authority when talking about everyday situations. Design. The tower was designed by Gilbert Scott. I hear the word design in daily conversations and news reports. I try to use design when talking about everyday situations. Strategy. The government's long-term economic strategy. A company's business strategy. I try to use strategy when talking about everyday situations. Democratic. A democratic government. The role of the media in the democratic process. I try to use democratic when talking about everyday situations. Check. Check the tiles carefully before you buy them. A first rule in solving any mystery is to check the facts. Fill in the cash book carefully and always check your calculations. Environment. Some of these chemicals are very damaging to the environment. Legislation to protect the environment. The effects of acid rain on the environment. Various. The jacket is available in various colors. There are various ways to answer your question. He decided to leave school for various reasons. Hang. If he is found guilty, he will almost certainly hang. I hear the word hang in daily conversations and news reports. I try to use hang when talking about everyday situations. Entire. It was the worst day in my entire life. The entire staff agreed. Have you drunk the entire bottle? Remove. A cleaner that will remove wine stains. The college removed rules that prevented women from enrolling. I try to use remove when talking about everyday situations. Legal. What the company has done is perfectly legal. Plans to make the carrying of identity cards a legal requirement. He had twice the legal limit of alcohol in his bloodstream. Cell. Cancer cells. Embryos grow by cell division, equals the splitting of cells. I try to use cell when talking about everyday situations. Trial. They succeeded in the experiment on the 15th trial. We plan to release a prototype this autumn for trial in hospitals. I try to use trial when talking about everyday situations. Spring. They were prepared and ready to spring into action. Finally, the engine sprang to life. I try to use spring when talking about everyday situations. Firm. The sofa cushions are fairly firm. A firm green apple. Most doctors recommend sleeping on a firm mattress. Management. A lack of management skills. A management consultant. Management training courses. Avoid. Road safety is taught to young children to avoid road accidents. It is important to take measures to avoid the risk of fire. Alan narrowly avoided an accident. Imagine. Perhaps she'd never really been there at all. Perhaps she'd just imagined it. I hear the word imagine in daily conversations and news reports. I try to use imagine when talking about everyday situations. Theory. Freudian theory has had a great influence on psychology. I hear the word theory in daily conversations and news reports. I try to use theory when talking about everyday situations. Impact. The force of the impact knocked the breath out of her. I hear the word impact in daily conversations and news reports. I try to use impact when talking about everyday situations. Respond. They are likely to respond positively to the president's request for aid. I hear the word respond in daily conversations and news reports. I try to use respond when talking about everyday situations. Statement. In an official statement, she formally announced her resignation. I hear the word statement in daily conversations and news reports. I try to use statement when talking about everyday situations. Maintain. Careers officers maintain contact with young people when they have left Britain school. Wants to maintain its position as a world power. A lot depends on building and maintaining a good relationship with your customers. Charge. Even local nurseries charge $150 a week. I hear the word charge in daily conversations and news reports. I try to use charge when talking about everyday situations. Traditional. Traditional Italian cooking. A traditional Irish folk song. A traditional method of brewing beer. Reveal. He may be prosecuted for revealing secrets about the security agency. A test that can reveal a teacher's hidden skills. I try to use reveal when talking about everyday situations. Direction. Which direction did they go in? The girls pointed in the opposite direction. On seeing me, Maurice changed direction and went along the wharf instead. Weapon. They all had sticks which they planned to use as weapons. I hear the word weapon in daily conversations and news reports. I try to use weapon when talking about everyday situations. Cultural. The very real historical and cultural differences between our two societies. The desire to maintain a distinct cultural identity. It is important to look at the political and cultural context in which the novel was written. Contain. The thief stole a purse containing banknotes. The museum contains a number of original artworks. I try to use contain when talking about everyday situations. Apply. We need to apply for planning permission to build a garage. I hear the word apply in daily conversations and news reports. I try to use apply when talking about everyday situations. Particular. In this particular case, no one else was involved. Most students choose one particular area for research, a particular type of food. Structure. Challenges to the existing power structure. A new management structure has been introduced. Molecular structures. Perform. Chenier and the band are performing at the Silver Palace tomorrow. The children perform 2 plays each school year. I try to use perform when talking about everyday situations. Bit. He's taken the engine to bits. I hear the word bit in daily conversations and news reports. I try to use bit when talking about everyday situations. Discover. The body was discovered in a field. Forest Service crews often discover campfires that have not been put out completely. I try to use discover when talking about everyday situations. Candidate. A presidential candidate. I hear the word candidate in daily conversations and news reports. I try to use candidate when talking about everyday situations. Affect. The areas affected by the hurricane. A disease that affects the central nervous system. Decisions which affect our lives. Conference. Representatives from over 100 countries attended the International Peace Conference in daily conversations and news reports. I try to use conference when talking about everyday situations. Range. In the dining room, team photographs were ranged along the wall. I hear the word range in daily conversations and news reports. I try to use range when talking about everyday situations. Mention. Was my name mentioned at all? Some of the problems were mentioned in his report. Equals it is important enough to mention that they only studied a very small number of specific games suitable for specific age groups. A specific example of alcohol's effect on the body. I try to use specific when talking about everyday situations. Throughout. A large organization with offices throughout the world. The disease spread rapidly throughout Europe. The house is in excellent condition, with fitted carpets throughout. Challenge. They threw down the challenge that he couldn't wash 40 cars in 1 hour. I hear the word challenge in daily conversations and news reports. I try to use challenge when talking about everyday situations. Institution. Powerful institutions such as world banks. The Institution of Electrical Engineers. I try to use institution when talking about everyday situations. Bar. Devil's Herd, the city's most popular country and western bar. I hear the word bar in daily conversations and news reports. I try to use bar when talking about everyday situations. Property. The hotel is not responsible for any loss or damage to guests' personal property. Some of the stolen property was found in Mason's house. I try to use property when talking about everyday situations. Improve. A course for students wishing to improve their English. The doctors say she is improving, equals after being ill. You could use the money for improving your home.